In this video, I start my adventures in Cape Town, South Africa. As you can see, they started with a spectacular sunset seen from the air after my departure from Mauritius. I cashed in some of my Marriott points for this spectacular hotel in Seapoint, and I was upgraded to this amazing suite where I had my own balcony. It had a separate bedroom, a kitchen area. It was amazing.
Is called Fairview. Fairview is in the Paarl region. The drive there will take us between 40 and 50 minutes. And Fairview is well known not only for the lovely wine that they make, but also for the lovely cheese. So the tasting there will consist of 6 wines. It will be paired with 6 different types of cheese.
First day in Africa, and I'm already doing a wine tour. We tried 18 different wines, and I was a little drunk by the end of the day.
The largest of these states will be obviously, you can see they are quite big. They have another room where they have more stainless steel tanks, and they produce more wine than the other 3 estates that we will visit combined.
I'm now in Cape Town, South Africa, about to do my first wine tasting of the day. I'll probably be drunk by this afternoon. Looking forward.
Finish the wine and we'll go to throw some out into this one.
So we're going to work for our tasting. We'll be first choosing an option to pair with the different cheeses. So on the paper, you'll see there's option 1 and option 2. So you can choose which option you want. The cheese pairing will start from your left-hand side. We are going to pair each of the cheeses with a different wine. So the little glass container, that is our elderflower syrup, and you can use that to dip your cheese into. First one on option 1, you are having the Chenin Blanc. It's 23 vintage. Chenin Blanc is one of the most planted white grape varietals in the country. And also, you can try some balsamic glaze with that.
Okay.
And then seals.
Yes.
And the previous camembert. Thank you. So that also some mustard glaze you can try with the cheese.
Oh wow.
Shiraz is actually, that's what we're known for. Signature grape. We do about 7 to 8 different styles, from fuller to lighter style. 100% goat's milk cream cheese, and is rolled in black pepper and paprika. Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's Stellenbosch. That is where we grow our grapes. With the cream of
With the end of the bottle. I'm getting married before the end of the year. Oh, okay. No.
Welcome to follow to the outside area with Tina, so family-owned vineyard, so we'll help with family. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to our 2022 Chardonnay, unhooded Chardonnay. Nice, refreshing, quaffable white wine to enjoy with 13.5% with the alcohol, so it's not oaked, so not creamy, not buttery at all. Nice, refreshing white wine. Tasting options, each can select any 3 wines from our Sauvignon Blanc down to the Shiraz. Thereafter, if you'd like to taste a touch of sweetness, just to warm you up from the inside out, we do serve a Cape Ruby port. This would be own account 40 Rand to taste, and it's named after the truck, Grandpa's 1942 Ford. It's made by the owner's youngest daughter Liesel, the 5th generation. Started when she was 16 years old. And today it's paying off as steady fees. So 18% of alcohol, a confidence booster to let you help sing and dance better. That the two of you are starting with 2 different white wines. So then we move the bucket.
Whatever. That's lovely.
In time and age where they think now they are going to enjoy this.
So Cabernet Sauvignon grapes in Shiraz predominantly, fortified with brandy spirits, stop the fermentation process quicker, and then to end with alcohol level of 18%. And personally to me it tastes like Christmas pudding, fruit cake with brandy.
I am at this point quite inebriated and wearing a blanket because we just sat outside, had a lovely wine tasting. Look at this beautiful property. Wow. So it's so lovely to be back in South Africa, in Cape Town. I fell in love with it when I came here in 2019. This is one of the few countries that I have gone back to in my almost 6 years of full-time travel. I think I've been obsessed with only going new places, and it's actually quite nice to come back somewhere familiar. Hello. Are you having a nice day? It's nice to see you. Are you gonna eat us? I hope not. I hope you don't mind being on YouTube. And we're on to the next vineyard. And at this point, I am not sure I'm going to be able to get out of the car because I've had quite a few tastings.
Just be careful.
The views are stunning, and it turns out you can also stay overnight here.
Closed here because they're doing a bit of maintenance up there as well.
This is lovely, though.
Lefomere is a very small wine farm. We only have 6.8 hectares of vineyards on the estate.
Okay.
And we only produce roughly 60, about say plus minus 40,000 bottles per year, right? Proper method of making rosé. You normally use red grapes only, and then skin contact for color.
The vineyard has a lovely family story, and we did a tasting, got a free glass of another one, and had some baboti for our lunch, which helped absorb some of that alcohol.
So today, Stellenbosch, or shall I say the oak trees, is a protected species here in Stellenbosch, a hospital in the northern suburbs of Cape Town.
Nice.
Another beautiful guest house area of Stellenbosch. Here you will see plenty of restaurants and coffee shops and gift shops. The church up ahead is a Dutch Reformed church.
Now arriving at what was my favorite vineyard of this trip. Oh, men and women can taste wine? That's good.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can...
No, what?
I didn't know.
Are you kidding? White Pinotage? Never heard of it.
Mr. Beau decided to make out of that red variety a white wine. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how soon you take the juice off the skins, you will always have a little bit of a rosé color.
Okay.
So Mr. Beau decided to put this one through a charcoal filter to get it a white wine.
Okay.
So 60% Pinotage, 40% Chenin Blanc, blend the two together, got the rosé color through the filter, and voila.
Wait. Now that you told me which is which, I forgot which one you just poured. Which one
I
did you pour?
poured the Pinotage Reserve.
This is the reserve.
This is the meatiest white wine I've ever tasted.
Now, Pinot Noir Cinsault is actually what created Pinotage in 1924 by a guy that was called Isaac Abram Perrault. Done. I'll pour you some of the trail dust. Voila.
That's good. Thank you.
7 different grapes together.
7?
Okay.
Pinotage, Cabernet, Merlot, Syrah, Pinot Noir, Cinsault, Cabernet Franc. But this year, we took out the Cab Franc because we had to buy the grapes in from other farms. So that 6 varieties is together for better quality in the Synergy Cape Blend 2020.
Oh my
So
God.
this is the proper mix of all the Cape lands.
Yes.
We returned to the center of Cape Town just in time for what was a beautiful sunset. It's really interesting returning here because it's been several years and there are subtle changes that I'm noticing, and one of them, not so subtle, is that they moved the Ferris wheel. They actually moved it here. It was in a totally different location last time. That's weird. If you use public transport in Cape Town, you'll need a My City card, which you use to tap in the bus when you board and out of when you get off the bus. And the cards are kind of hard to find. You may have to go to a drugstore or a main station to get one. One of my favorite activities in Cape Town was learning about this Cape Town Meadery and trying mead for the first time. And you'll see we learned quite a bit about it.
Water, so it's sitting at 12%. Exactly the same process. I mean, the racks that, as you walked up, you saw the racks with the bottles. So this is quite dry. It's got a nice honey nose, but it's quite dry. 6 glasses. So like I said, we're going to do 11. The only reason I put 5, because if you start putting 11 glasses, it's absolute chaos on the table. So we'll reuse the glasses. And like a typical wine tasting, we'll start with the dry styles and then we'll go to the sweeter. So it shouldn't really interfere. But mead is actually the oldest alcoholic beverage known to mankind. And although you might not have heard of it, you definitely have heard of the word honeymoon. And honeymoon literally, it wouldn't exist, the word wouldn't exist without mead. And the word honeymoon comes from enough mead to last 28 days, so the whole cycle. Now it's seen as aphrodisiac. My personal opinion, any alcohol is seen as aphrodisiac. But I think at that point in time, mead was the only thing really available. So it was before agriculture, so it was before they could farm grapes and grains to make beer and wine, respectively. The story goes that it's actually a big baobab, big hollow in it, and the bees found and made a nest in there. And then being typical Africa, it starts raining, the hole filled with water, and the bees leave because they will die, they will drown. And then you get yeast, natural yeast in the environment, and they'll start making mead. And then you can imagine being the first person to discover that and drink it and realize, wow, this is quite nice. So I mean, we can track it back about 20,000 years ago to the Khoisan. So it's a long time ago. Anyway, so let's start with Europe. So mead is actually very infamous in Europe. So like the Vikings, if you've ever heard of mead, Vikings is normally the way that people think. And the only reason mead started dying out was they started planting grains and grapes for wine and beer, and it was just much, much cheaper. And then at that point, something very interesting happened, where royal families basically decided this is the drink of royalty. And as we discussed this afternoon, you also see there's often linked to the gods, and it's also called ambrosia, literally meaning drink of the gods. Called voluptus, this is our big lady. And, well, it literally means big lady, and this is a piment. So this is made by taking Chardonnay berries or grapes and pressing it, and then you actually add honey into the juice, and then it starts fermenting. Down the middle. Either you love it or you hate it. There's nothing in between. Europe was literally in an ice age 20,000 years ago. So although bees originated in Europe, when honey and mead was discovered, it was definitely in Africa, and it was warm. It's the right climate for it. Secondly, the Khoisan. Now, the Khoisan is a fascinating group of people. I mean, not a lot of people understand their culture and that kind of thing. And I'm going to try and give you a little bit of the background of it. But firstly, the Khoisan is a relatively small nation, so it's small people. So all their bows and stuff that they make is relatively small. Yet, and we know that to take down or to reduce the poisonousness of the toxins they use, they would actually ferment specific roots and stuff together. So using the process of fermentation to get the toxins to a level where it will kill the animal, but not necessarily pass on once it's cooked. So they use fermentation very successfully in making those poisons and toxins. Now, if you can do that, there's no reason that you can't do mead, because you have a basic understanding of fermentation. You're welcome to come and look and see what I mean. But these columns, so the fermenter here is empty, so you can see what the balls look like. So the black balls in here is effectively our roots. And when you look at it, you will see all the gaps and stuff in between, on there and on the outside. Now the yeast in here is 8 years old already. It only gets yeast once, never again. So the yeast has had the opportunity to, over 8 years of just making mead, to adapt. That's where the African is coming in. So you'll see the honey water mixture get pumped in at the bottom, and because it constantly gets pumped in, it gets pushed up to the top, and then it flows out, and at that point it's effectively dry. So meaning all the sugars are still dry mead. So when you smell it, it's going to have this almost sherry characteristic in the smell, like sweet. But then you drink it, it almost drinks like a Chenin or a Chardonnay, ice cold. In summer, it's like one of the best things. I use the same techniques. So there's not so much bitter hopping. So there's not much hops going in the boil, so it's not extremely bitter. But what I is which actually comes from the honey. And sweet. You are coming. I mean, it's 43%, so it's high alcohol. So, but I would suggest you sip it first, because this is actually designed to be a sipping gin, and you'll see what I mean when you sip it. And then I've got tonic, and then I'll come around and I can put tonic in. Thank you. I've got two types of barrels. I've got one that's 8 years old, and that's an old bourbon barrel. And then I've got 4 barrels that's 4 years old. So what I do is I mix some of the old, some of the newer barrels, and then some fresh mead. And then you get a final product like this. Because this is a digestive.
Do you sell from the shop?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
This is proper mead?
This is the Viking stuff.
This is Viking mead.
Okay.
So this is how they would have done it.
All right.
Yeah, everybody's so appreciative.
Okay, so everybody just quickly.
That's why I say it's dangerous.
Wow.
But the alcohol is sitting at 10%, so make no mistake, this stuff will hurt. Yeah. So often people come here, I don't sell this in the bottle, it's not possible. So what people do is that they've got a Viking party.
Oh, I've got a growler, I should have got it.
You can bring a growler. I fill it up for you, straight from the tank. Yeah.
I'm here at the Cape Town Meadery. This is a very interesting and unique experience, and one that may shift because they're going to be moving to Stellenbosch soon. But we will talk to the owner and founder, Ernst, and we just had an amazing time learning about mead. This is an activity I would never have thought of. I found it in the Cape Town magazine, I think, Cape Townian or something, on their website, and highly recommend it. Ernst is extremely knowledgeable about his product. I am here with Ernst, the founder of the Cape Town Meadery, and we're going to get a little bit of a taste of what this place is about and some really cool stuff he does. Can you tell us a little bit about what made you found this place, when you founded it, and what it's about?
So my name is Ernst, like you already said, and I've got a fascination with bees and also fermentation in general, like whether it's bread, salami, but obviously the business is about mead. And it comes from a really true love for bees, and the whole romantic notion that bees, without bees, the world will just not exist. And for me, that's such a beautiful thing, like a little insect like that can be so important. And so I make lots of different styles of mead, catering to lots of different palates. And because there's this perception that mead is for a mead drinker, and reality is like you taste it today, you can be a beer drinker and still enjoy a mead, or a wine drinker and you can still enjoy a mead. And I think that's what we're trying to achieve here, to show that mead can cater to a wide range of palates regardless of what your taste is like. So I love making new products based on people's perceptions, and I do that for many, many people, product development for many other brands out there, and that's what I enjoy doing.
Can you say a little bit more about that? I found that fascinating, that you're kind of making the recipes for other businesses. And
so a recipe development is an interesting thing, although it's not as hard as you think it is. So it's all about what does the person want and who does he want to sell it to. So you get a pretty good idea of this is the market, what does that market currently consume, how can you make it unique to that one brand without making it too unique so that the other people won't drink it, and it's exactly the same with the mead. That's the skill. So we do lots of things, so like we've made a cider for a very famous, Boiti, a very famous South African influencer, and it's based basically around the cider, but the way the sugar we use and that kind of thing is slightly different to give it a slightly different twist, but still very recognizable by the palate. And so that's what I bring when I do product development. So it's just basically time, sitting with all the ingredients, what tastes good, what doesn't taste good, and then developing it slowly.
And how long have you been doing this?
About almost 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's a long time. Yeah.
So if somebody's coming to Cape Town and visiting, how do they find you and how do they get here?
The best is just to go to our website, www.capetownmeadery.com. All the information is there. It's very easy to find, and they can just look and see when they can come for a tasting, they can book, and they can come and sit here and come and experience what I've got to offer.
Perfect. And I feel like your slogan should be mead. It's not just for Vikings.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Mead, it's for every person.
Thank you so much.
Cool, not a problem. Thanks for coming.
Bye. While in Cape Town, I got to watch the Springboks win at Rugby.
Yeah.